Welcome everyone to the new podcast, The Questions in a Life. I'm Penella Hogg, your host, and today's guest is Brett Parbery.
How are you, Penella?
Thank you. Hi. Now, Brett is an international dressage rider who has represented Australia on the world stage, including world championships. But beyond his achievements in the arena, Brett is widely respected for his skill as a communicator and trainer, with a rare gift of turning complex riding concepts into clear, practical steps riders can actually use. Through his Performance Rider program, Brett is helping riders all over the world bring structure, clarity and inspiration to their training, a program that has become a leading resource for those who want to grow both themselves and their horses. So, welcome, Brett. I'm very happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, Penella. Thanks for that lovely introduction.
Oh, that's all right. Now, to begin the conversation, tell me what's inspiring and giving you energy at the moment?
Well, that's a great question. The shortened version of that is probably just the day-to-day, like the day-to-day riding, the day-to-day training of horses, the day-to-day just connection with the horses in my stable and the staff and the young people that work for me. I get a lot of energy from that. So I would say the day-to-day, once upon a time, what would inspire me and give me energy would be the next competition. The next competition's coming and I have a goal or I have I want to try and represent Australia or whatever it might be. And that would give me motivation. But now I really find that the motivation just comes from the day-to-day things. And I'm probably guilty of not enjoying that over the years, but for some reason now I just really enjoy it. I love just every single day in the stables.
And when did that start to change?
Well, to be honest, it probably started to change. And I wouldn't say it started to sneak in when I started doing my program. So we've been running the Performance Riders program, Parbery program within Performance Riders for 5 years now. And it's something really empowering when you can make a system of training that relates purely to dressage, deliver it every single week to lots and lots of people. I've been doing more education recently than I've ever done. At the moment, I'm just educating so much at the moment. And that really, I must say, that really makes you reflect and reflect on the connection with the horse and the training system and everything. So where I'm going with that is now I've started doing, I'm into the 5th year of doing the program. I feel like I just get all of my enjoyment from that and training, and the competitions have become less important to me.
That makes sense. You get a lot from, training your riders. So a question I've been thinking about is, with all the teachings you've done and all the riders you've taught all over the world, what are some of the biggest challenges you see that riders have, like a common theme?
Well, that's a great one because, it's funny. When you're riding, like you're riding around at home and you're doing things, you're really your mind just comes up with stuff. And I was just riding around there a moment ago thinking to myself, how many times have I seen a horse and rider where the horse is more intelligent than the rider, right? So that just popped into my head riding around about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's go further on that. The horse is more intelligent than the rider because the horse is doing a better job of not doing dressage than the rider is of convincing the horse to do dressage. So there's a discussion there, right? So now when you talk about that, you go, okay, well, what does that mean? Well, we have some principles in dressage that we really must have, like I need my horse to be in front of my leg, for example. So when we ask the horse to go somewhere, the horse goes, might be say from walk to trot, and that the horse continues to keep trotting without the rider going nag, 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 nag. So that the horse continues to keep going. That's educating the horse to go from a pressure when the horse responds to release the pressure, and the horse continues to keep going until it's told to do something else. So, and that's something that dressage horses need to have. We need to have that in dressage because everything gets a lot harder the further we go up the levels, right? So the more you introduce, the more these fundamentals have to be spot on. So, but then I see so many horses, and to answer your question, what have I seen the most? I would say I've seen riders nagging their horses with their legs to sort of keep coaxing the horse along. That's probably the thing I see the most worldwide. Now, the horse in that instance is smarter than the rider because the horse is doing a better job of conserving their energy than giving the rider their energy and trying a bit harder. So, yeah, it's funny. You'll probably hear more of this as I go because, through the program and everything, but so many instances the horses are smarter than the riders. And I think that we need to actually look at that. That gives a moment to reflect. Because the rider can go, well, why do I get on and all of a sudden I'm telling the horse what to do? Do this and do that and do this and here, when really the horse is actually the more intelligent animal. Let's actually figure out ways to convince them to do it where they really enjoy doing it. Through pressure and release, through rewards, through not overworking, not drilling something, actually making it a bit of fun for them. And you'll find the top riders in the world in any discipline really understand that concept of not only training the horse to do something, but the horse is actually, their desire to do it for the rider grows and grows with the more knowledge they get.
Well, that makes me come to another thing I was thinking about riders' attitude. Do you feel that actually that ties in a lot to the attitude and the energy riders bring to the ride as they step onto the horse? So attitude has a lot to do with that?
Oh, absolutely. So on that, I have this little bit of a saying. And I say it to nearly all of my riders when they start, especially the ones I haven't taught that much. The warm-up is for the rider. So, when we hop on and we walk around and then all of a sudden we decide to warm up. The warm-up is for the rider. The horse was born warmed up, right? So, and of course we know that that's probably not 100% accurate, but what I'm trying to emphasize in that statement is the warm-up, the first 15 minutes, say, of a riding session is all about the rider. The rider being aware, thinking of the structure of the training session they're about to go into, thinking about how the horse is responding to the individual aids and how that rider's applying pressure release, the pressure and release communication. Noticing the rider, noticing what the horse is doing by naturally, and then working out a strategy and a way of training that through the session. So the warm-up is all about the rider. The horse was born warmed up. The horse could step out of the stable and gallop immediately. So they are now, of course, they're not born responding to our aids, but they will respond to our aids the better the rider is at putting the aids on, and the clearer they are at pressure release and knowing exactly which aids to put on. So that's why I really want my riders in the warm-up to completely go into that zone of awareness, focus, clarity, recalling on knowledge, any knowledge they've built up, and not just jump on and straight away start picking on the poor horse.
So then attitude then really is about how the rider is showing up?
Yeah, 100%. And with a positive attitude. I think it's well documented worldwide that bringing positivity into everything is the better way. Of course, some people are wired to be a little more cautious, which then can be maybe a little more negative, but But trying to approach everything with a positive can-do attitude generally gets you further than a negative sort of coming into my shell defensive attitude. So then the attitude of the rider to have a really positive, I'm going to play a few games, I'm going to make some mistakes. I don't mind if I make the mistakes because I can work things out from there.
Yeah.
When the horse offers something, really rewarding them, that bit of a fun-loving, free, positive attitude generally provides a better response than the other. And the negative, and negative can also be bringing things from outside your life, like things that are happening in your life to the rides. Try to clear that, just clear it. This is just your 45 minutes with your horse. Be aware, be positive, be the smarter of the two animals. Think about pressure release, think about great horsemanship. Now, they're all the things I think that a good attitude would include.
Yes. Yeah. Do you find that that for yourself, like if you get on a day when you have too much going on in life on the side, then stepping onto the horse, that actually affects your ride?
Yeah, definitely. And hopefully, I mean, again, back on that discussion of who's the smarter animal of the two,
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm getting smarter. I know I completely make the same mistakes sometimes, but I'm hoping over the years I'm getting smarter at this and better at this. But yeah, in the past, 100%, if I have had some other stresses, and usually it's financial when you're a professional horse trainer,
Yes.
and you're relying on your own hard work and the income that can produce to, just the general economics of life. The financial stresses is usually the first thing that comes into your mind. And then, of course, you have this bit of a angry mindset because you're working hard and you're not getting ahead. And then the slightest little thing can trigger an over response with the horses. I mean, that's, I think you name a horse trainer and I'll name someone who's made that mistake, especially someone who's had to live from the industry. Now, I'm not saying that's right. And the good part about growing older, and I was only talking about this with my father yesterday. My father's a very, very good horseman.
Yeah.
And I was only talking about it yesterday, and I said, isn't it a shame that the older we get, the better we become at reading horses and understanding horses and really knowing things, but then we're too old to do it properly. And then at the same time, the young people don't really want to listen to us.
Yeah.
So, because what would we know, right? So it's a shame the poor damn horse really has it stacked against them, because as us humans get better and better,
Yeah.
we don't get listened to by the young ones, and also we are too old to do the job properly. So that's something, again, that I just was talking about yesterday. So definitely as I get older, I'm getting smarter about exactly that, bringing the right attitude, bringing the right thinking, using the first 10 minutes for me, and that's on every single horse. If I ride 6 horses in a day, that's 6 times a day.
Yeah.
That 15 minutes at the beginning is all about my awareness, my thinking, and then bringing that to a training session with clarity and focus and,
And do you have a few little sort of prompts that you may tell yourself, so that when you do get on, that is what you do? Like
I've got a couple. I'm not sure if these are prompts that, whether they, it's like one sentence can mean 1,000 things to you.
Yeah.
One of the things I say to myself when I first start riding is feet first, meaning don't feel my horse just with my hands first. Actually, and what that does, it makes me think about my feet, my legs, my seat, my back, and it makes me think of the horse that's underneath me, as opposed to just the horse that's in front of me. that bit I can see in front.
Yeah.
So I think feet first, and that just makes me aware of my feet and aware of all of those things underneath me. Oftentimes I'll look up in the sky, like at the roof or up in the sky, and really when I do that, I think about the horse's hips, and I think about everything in the horse that I can't see. The tail, the back feet, the hocks, the fetlocks, all of the parts of the horse that I can't see. Because I know full well that the moment I take up the reins, I'll then look at the horse's ears and neck, and that'll be the parts I can see. So I need to actually grow my awareness for all the parts I can't see, and try to have that 360-degree view of the horse that's underneath me. Because not every problem in a horse, dressage horse, or even in all other disciplines, is actually solved in the horse's mouth. Even though people, riders, tend to go to the mouth first.
Yes.
Because that's where they feel it.
Yes.
Right? But not all the problems are created in the mouth. To be honest, 99% of them are created elsewhere. In the back end, a horse not taking equal weight behind, maybe then leaning onto a shoulder, which ends up in the hand. But it didn't start there. It started behind us. So just that little word, feet first, makes me think of all of that and makes me think about all the bits I can't see and to feel the horse. And the more I've made myself think about that, the better I'm getting at riding the bits of the horse I can't see.
That's really good points. That is really, really good points. And it also then would bring you really yourself into your body, wouldn't it? Not in your head. You're really feeling into your body. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're really connecting your mind and your body together.
That's right. That's it. Yeah.
Now, the other thing to talk about is when you started doing the program, you said about 5 years ago, what inspired you? Like what sort of suddenly, this is what I would like to do, like, and offer all this to everyone. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great question because we have been the first people into this space. There were other programs, and we're not going to claim that we were the first people into an online subscription-based membership community.
Yeah.
But we have been the first ones into the space of the structure, the way in which we've structured this. And fundamentally, it all came from a hatred of social media, funnily enough.
Okay.
So if you've got time for this story, it's actually a quite good one. So I came inside one day from riding and I was having lunch and I was on Facebook like everybody else, in this day and age. And I opened up my Facebook and I noticed a comment that said, "I can't believe Rolker has made it into the Spanish riding school." And there was a photo of a guy. It was taken through the glass where the riders were warming up. And there was a horse being warmed up at the Spanish riding school, which was pretty much a traditional kind of deep, long. The horse's nose had just slightly behind the vertical. I mean slightly. But the horse was reaching over the back. In trueness, it was actually a quite nice photo of a horse lowering and stretching, and maybe the horse was on its way to nose in front of the vertical. But you could see the horse was not getting pulled backwards. Like the rider was soft hands and the horse was reaching. And I thought to myself, stupidly, oh, here's an opportunity to educate someone. So I said, I'm sorry to say, but that's not Rolker, right? Well, I got hammered by people all over the world. I mean, they came at me from everywhere, every corner of the globe. And at that stage, we had DVDs, we'd been selling, and we had a DVD series that we were selling. And I had people were going to send the DVDs back, and they were really into me. So after about 4 or 5 attempts to kind of respond in an education way to these people to say, no, you're getting it wrong. That's not roll cur. Like that's just a photo where the horse nose behind the vertical. You've got to look for the person pulling their hands backwards and really rough. The horse is actually reaching and possibly is going to reach for. I tried all this. It didn't go anywhere. I closed my iPad and I handed it to my wife. I said, change the password, and I never want to go on that ever again. This is not for me.
Yeah.
Right. So onwards I go, and I get the comments to people say to me, why aren't you on social media? I said, I just can't stand it, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I then realized that for business, I needed to be on it. I needed to keep up with the world and be on it. So I employed the services of Nat Foxon, who's my co-founder in Performance Riders. And I said to Nat, she was running a little digital media thing. I said, look, can you handle my social media? What's that going to cost? She said, $800 a month. I'm like, oh, I can't afford that. And she said, well, that's the cost. So I said, all right, what I want you to do for me is bring me back ideas. Like go to this wild world of social media, go out there into the ether and come back with some business opportunities and ideas for me. Mm-hmm. So Nat started asking my group, whoever, 5,000 people who are following me, what can we do for you? Mm-hmm. And she came back to me and she said, I think there's something here in education, and I think it's a 30-day challenge, because at that stage there were a lot of these 30-day challenges, like weight loss challenges and get fit challenges at a gym. Mm-hmm. She said, I think it's in the form of a 30-day challenge. We can sort of create this 30-day challenge package and try and sell that. And I okay, I like the sound of that. Let's start doing it. So I was sort of rolling around in my brain. And anyway, Nat came back to me about 2 weeks later and she said, no. I think I know what it is. It's in a program. It's in a education program. Mm. So I said, okay, well, that's I like the sound of that. I do like the sound of it. And I knew that there were other online presences out there of education presences where people could be members and subscribe, but nothing that was really structured the way that I wanted to structure it. So when Nat gave me that, she said, I want you just to think about the sport and how you can split it up into a number of sections. So that's when I decided to split the sport into 6 modules, 6 sections, delivered 1 week at a time, over 6 weeks, about 3 hours per module. And then I started writing it, and we started writing it and filming it, and we ended up with what we call now the Breakthrough Program. But here's a really funny one, right? When we first started that, we called it Dressage Fundamentals, because I really wanted people to realize this is a sport of fundamentals where you build upon them and you develop your horse to Grand Prix. There are no magic tricks. Mm-hmm. It's not just a Grand Prix dressage is not a cobbling of circus tricks put together. Yeah. It is a fundamental system where it just goes layer upon layer upon layer, development upon development upon development, all the way through to Grand Prix movements. Yeah. So I structured my 6-week program in that way, and we called it Dressage Fundamentals. Well, no one wanted to buy Dressage Fundamentals because everyone thought they were too far advanced. How funny is that, right? Yeah. How funny is that? That the fundamentals form the most advanced Grand Prix riding, but the public didn't realise they needed fundamentals. Yeah. So we changed the name to Dressage Breakthrough, and that's when people started buying it. And so that tells you about the horses being smarter than the people. Now, because the people actually got to realise this is all about fundamentals. Mm. This is all about fundamentals. This whole thing is about fundamentals. Even the fundamental of rider position, thinking about your feet first, understanding what aids talk to which parts of the horse, getting responses from those aids, pressure release, the pressure of an aid and the release as a reward, and that the harmonious riding that we all search for at the highest levels of dressage is from the fundamentals coming together, the horses knowing how to respond to the aids, the horses responding in the right way where the rider can release the pressure, and the rider appearing like they're doing nothing because they're doing either small aids or nothing. Mm. That's how harmony and happiness in horses is created when the horse understands that this aid plus this aid plus this aid means this body position and this, doing this, we call them movements, they're just responding to aids, but doing this movement, and then when I respond to all of those, the pressure releases or softens, and the horse finds comfort. And then that's what is harmonious dressage riding. And that's where the willingness and the desire of the horse to want to repeat things comes from. Pressure release and reward.
That takes a lot of understanding on behalf of the rider to achieve, though, don't you think?
It does, but it starts from gaining the knowledge. Like this is another thing, Penilla, and I don't know if I'm answering your questions, but it's just these are just things I've found over the years. Dressage coaching or equestrian coaching, right, across the board, is the most archaic form of coaching you'll ever find. Like when you think about other sports, and the way other sports are coached, I'll say dressage coaching is so archaic. We tend in a riding lesson situation, like weekly lessons or monthly lessons or whatever, we're learning the sport from the bottom up. Okay, you're learning. Now we go to the next level and we learn that level, and then we go to the next level and we learn that level, and we go. Rather than learning the knowledge component of the sport from the top down. What does a Grand Prix horse need? Because when you think about dressage, right, it's about the journey to Grand Prix. That's what we should all be signing up for. The journey towards Grand Prix dressage, like climbing Mount Everest. I'm starting Mount Everest. The top of Mount Everest is Grand Prix dressage, or very good at it, and I'm going to start my journey to Mount Everest. So even in that analogy, we know where the top is. It's Mount Everest. But oftentimes us dressage people, we just think about we're only learning it from the bottom up, one step at a time. Where I've sort of got to my conclusion is there's two parts to this. There's the knowledge part, actually understanding the knowledge of what we need to learn. You can learn that from the top down. What does a Grand Prix dressage horse need? And how does that come back through the levels and responses to aids from the ground up? So learning what the Grand Prix horse needs. The second part is the skill development. So there's gaining the knowledge, then there's gaining the skills. Now the skills, of course, they come from the ground up because you can only build them from the bottom up. So the knowledge component from the top down and the skill development from the bottom up. But equestrian coaching or dressage coaching only relies on it. Firstly, we try to do knowledge and skill development at the same time, right? Whilst riding the horse, whilst doing it for 45 minutes once a week, and try and do it from the bottom up. Like, how much of it are you actually going to retain? Right? And unless those bits of information fall onto a really structured system of training, again, it's going to be hit and miss. So no wonder horses end up with clashing aids all the time and riders that are putting like nagging whilst getting their, head down. Actually learning from the top down and building their skills from the bottom up. So I believed that with an online program, we could do the top-down part first. You don't need to be sitting on the horse to actually get the knowledge. You need to be sitting on the horse to gain the skills and apply the knowledge. But to get the knowledge, you don't need to be on a horse. You can learn that in front of your computer or from a podcast or, all the different formats that we offer. So that's when it all made sense to me to do something online. And we were the first ones in the world into that space in the way in which we do it.
Yes. So how do you see it, like looking ahead? Where's your vision? Where do you want it to go? How do you see it evolving?
Yeah, look, I think again, it's evolving it so that the information the information goes into the people, because I've lucky now, like I've seen 2,000 odd people go through this program. I've seen some people really engaging in the information like it's gospel. They just engage in that to the letter. And then I've seen some people not engaging in it, right? Which is fine. That's absolutely fine. And what I say in the program is, I don't mind, like, if you use my system, because basically the program is me fleshing out my system for people. I don't care if you use my system or you use this to create your own system. But what I do care about is that you have a system, because that's the system of training is what's going to give the horse consistency on a daily basis, and the horse wants consistency. They're looking for consistency. Because they don't like tangents. Horses don't like tangents. Riders love tangents. As soon as something starts going wrong, we go searching for another way. Or we look at the latest YouTube clip or whatever it might be. Horses want consistency, and they need to understand what part of them is controlled by what part of us. They like to understand a pressure response or a sequence of aids that produces a response to then get pressure off. They like pressure off. They like rewards. And once they understand the clarity there, they'll keep just being horses within that system. Of course, they're going to try not to do the most. They're horses. You know, of course, they're going to be a little lazy. Of course, they're going to arrive some days better than others. You know, that's what horses are. But the rider's responsibility is to be consistent. So I just care that riders have a system, because then when they start accumulating information, exercises, different bits of information, they can then attach those onto their own training structure and system, and then the horses are the beneficiary of that.
Do you, this is just a little bit on the side, but do you think too that having that sort of structure with your riding and you're teaching that to the riders, that actually will feed into their life in general too? So it's like a little bit of a parallel. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah, no, I do. I do believe on that. Like, so I have said to my co-founder, Nat, I said, I think we're in the life coaching business and the subject is dressage. Like sometimes I feel like that with this reflection, so with the reflection that comes with, I need to own my system, I need to be accountable for my aids, I need to be accountable for pressure release, I need to be accountable for my focus. All those things that we push back onto the riders to say, hey, this is all about you. This is nothing to do with the horse. Like, this is all about you.
Yes.
How about you turn up at your best, and then we've got a chance of getting our horse to our best. So in that place, I have noticed that with that message comes, people go searching for other things of an equivalent nature to make sure they're at their best. So yes, I don't think they bring across those principles, but they do get into that mindset and go, oh, I can actually do this to improve myself. I can do that to improve myself. and they start looking outside. And then again, the riding is the passion. So the riding is the reason for them to then, enroll at the gym or start a breathing, like some sort of a breathing program, or go to yoga or reflect or start journaling.
Yes.
The riding is the passion and the reason why they then try to do that. So, yeah, there is a parallel.
Yeah. Yes. Now, yes, that's a really good point. So for yourself, all these lessons that you have learned through your own riding career, how did you look at all these challenges that you would come up against? How did you look at them so they didn't stop you? Do you know what I mean? Like, you kept working through them one by one, trying to not look at them as a showstopper, but more like an invitation to dig a little deeper, to find some more answers. and to sort of become better with your riding. Can you talk a bit more about that, sort of how you sort of shaped yourself, and then now you have the program where you can really offer all that you sort of have been through yourself in a way to be able to offer now to others.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, yeah, I do. I mean, there's no doubt high performance sport, and I must say, I'll preface this by saying I'm a sports nut. Like, I love sport, and I have always loved sport.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Dressage offers us the opportunity to be involved in sport, as we get older. So it's great like that. So I've tried to bring a really sporting mindset into all of my competitions over the years. Now sport is full of highs and lows. Mm-hmm. Sport is ruthless.
Yeah.
And it's full of highs and lows. Now, the lows, unfortunately, in dressage are horses passing away, owners taking horses away for one reason or another. That's the lows. Mm. So it's awful. They're the most awful, most challenging periods in your life, especially when you lose a horse that's given you so much in your career, and been so kind in what they've offered, and all of a sudden you can't save them for one reason or another. The horse dies. That just completely rocks us. Touch wood, it hasn't happened for a long time, but we had a couple of our really top horses that passed away. So that's always hard to get back to motivated. But then on the other side, the human things like some politics or whatever might happen in high performance sport, you can have sport, you can have politics. So it's, that stuff also makes you feel very, that's another hurdle to get over. I think for me personally, that desire to try and be at the top of the sport, to be respected by people who are at the top, and that's often in Europe with dressage. Mm-hmm. But even the Australian-based top riders, like to feel like I could be respected amongst my peers, mm-hmm. and have respect from the top riders in Europe as a good rider, a good horseman, a good competitor, a good person. That fueled me for a very, very long time and it's always hard from Australia. You're trying to do that at that top end of the sport, but you're doing it on the other side of the world. That makes it hard. So you do go through a few highs and lows with that. But yeah, I think probably what kept me going there was that almost like that, blind naivety, which becomes determination. And then, of course, and the passion to try and find the best in yourself. And, I've been at the brink of stopping this many times, but then I always say to myself, what else am I going to do, for one? Two, think of all the benefits it's giving to your life, like healthy, interest. There's just nothing like being around animals. All the health benefits from that. And I think to myself, what else? Like, yeah, it's going to be hard, but you go somewhere else, it'll be hard. There's always going to be hard in everything you do. So that's sort of what drives me to come back to it and push through the hard times. And yeah, I mean, I've had everything, been injured and all those things. You just get through those and you keep coming back, and you think to yourself, what else would I do? I'm not good at anything else, so what else am I going to do?
And again, the feeling then when you are on the horse, does that have something to do with that? What the horse actually gives you when you are on their back?
Yeah, for a male, I think I've said this a few times before, right? So little girls, they get into riding because they love horses.
Yeah.
Little boys get into riding because they love horses, but then all of a sudden they realise they love attention, right? So little boys love attention.
Yeah.
And especially when, the mothers will go past and they go, oh, you look lovely on the horse, and gee, you're a lovely rider. And the little boy sort of puffs his chest out. And so you'll find that girls love horses. Boys actually love attention. So when you look at that into adult years, right, into adult years, that actually doesn't change that much. But as you get older, for males, you love horses more and more and more, right? And, of course, I'm not saying – I've always loved horses.
Yeah.
But there is certainly an attention element that motivates a male, which also sometimes is why the males are often a little quick to overcorrect horses because they don't like that horse sort of bruising their attention or their ego, making them not look good, right? This is early days. This is sort of what I've noticed. I've noticed a lot in my life where little girls are less likely to overreact in the early days because their passion is driven from loving horses. Now, boys also love horses. Like, we love horses. My son loves horses. I know a lot of guys that love horses, but there is that little thing there. As you get older, that disappears from a male. Yeah. And you then get into more, you get more knowledge, you get less, you get males get a little more happy in their own skin. They start to accept that they can't win everything, that they can, we'll have some shows where we don't do so well, but these are development shows. And, so I don't know how I got onto that, but that's what I've noticed in the difference with coaching. And there's a reason why dressage is dominated by small girls. Yeah. It's a sport of connection, and it's a sport of and some of these small girls, don't get me wrong, they're tough. Like, they can ride. Yeah. But it's a sport of connectivity and horse trusting and everything. And that's why I keep telling my son, you cannot ride like a big male. You've got to ride like a small girl. I've tried my whole career to ride like the horses, like that the horses want me on their backs. Yes. They like me on their backs. Yeah. I don't ride heavy. I try to ride light. I try to ride like a small girl. I think, I'm pretty sure that I can put anyone on my horses and they can ride them because I've tried never to rely on strength or size to train my horses, and that's sort of a thing that I try to push into now my son and the kids that ride with me, that it's not about strength.
No, about the connection. Yeah. Oh, there's just so much good stuff with these horses, aren't there? Wow.
Yeah.
It's a never-ending story.
It's funny you say that. Like I know, must have been 3-4 years ago, I started saying in the program that horses are like a mirror. You look into them, you look at them. When they walk out of the stables, you look at them. They'll tell you everything. When we used to go to Europe and buy horses, you could walk into the stables and you could pretty much see what the vibe of that stable was like by the horses. Are they standing in the back corner with their head in the wall, or have they got their head out and they're looking out the doors and they're looking bright and happy to see people? That told you everything about the training system in that place. And they're like mirrors. So, and I've actually seen this coming through on social media recently that people have been saying something similar. But it is true. Like, a horse is a reflection of everything about you. The way you feed them, the way you handle them, the way we saddle them, the way our tack fits them, the way we train them. Everything about those horses is a reflection of us, and we just have to continue getting better at looking at them, seeing the reflection, and adjusting so that the reflection is what we want, what we want from everything we do.
Yes. Now, to finish off the conversation, what message would you hope that all these riders that you have been teaching, when they finish the lesson, what is the one message you would like for them to remember, like to take away with them when they've finished the lessons with you? Like there must be something that you always hope that, you know, they would remember. What would that be?
Yeah, I think I'm in the fortunate position now where I only coach riders who are in my program, who are in my online program.
Yes.
And what I get from that is I get a shared philosophy. They understand my philosophy. They understand my philosophy. They understand the system. So when I coach those riders, and I'll give you this answer in two parts.
Yep.
When I coach the riders that are in my system and really understand it, and I get to understand their system, because I'm not saying my system's the best, right? I'm just saying we need a system. So when I understand their system and I really understand who they are and what they are, I just make them accountable to their training. I just say, right, what have we just done? And they tell me, where do you need to go? Because there's always a problem to be solved when you're training a horse. There's just never not a problem to be solved somewhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've just worked on this problem. We now know the way through. You're clear. I'm clear. We think the horse is clear. This is something you'll do X amount of times. It will layer into it'll layer into your training somewhere like this. So really making sure that rider goes out of that session clear about where they're going. That's number one. And I try to do that with every single rider I coach now who's in my program. The riders who aren't in my program that I coach, which I don't do that many, I do a lot in America like that.
Yeah.
What I do with them is I try to say to them, these are the things you need. You've got to figure this out and apply this. This is what I've seen. I've seen this today. This aid is clashing with this aid, or the horse is not responding from this aid, and you need this aid to work to take it to this next level, you know, whatever you're doing. You know, and I try to make them that they understand the importance of awareness, the importance of focus, the importance of knowledge from top down, and the importance of then developing those skills. So that's where, you know, once upon a time, I'd do the same old riding lesson like everybody else. Okay, more forward, that's it, shoulder in, more angle, little rounder, okay, yeah, half pass, that's it. You know, that is a waste of time. Unless that rider really understands exactly where that's going, how to make it better, how to get the horse to learn about pressure release, how to get more spark. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you know, doing the movements is one thing and doing those bits, but is it done with great horsemanship? Is it done with harmony? Is it done in a way that the horse will want to do it better next time? You know, is it now going into something that gets you ready for Grand Prix? You know, they're all questions that we need to ask, and want to make the riders really accountable for that. I mean, I could give that lesson every day of the week.
Yeah.
Half pass, change, okay, now this way, pirouette, bit more forward, all that. But that's not really producing a rider that's a thinking rider, that's an accountable rider, that's a rider that knows how to apply their system on multiple horses. I want to try and produce riders that are fully self-sustainable, that when I come in, I can be more like eyes on the ground. This is how we get it better. This is how we can get, because no one is getting 100% in dressage, which means that always something to be improved.
Yes.
Always.
Yeah.
And I think you'll find that when you talk to those really top riders who are getting close to it, you know, they're getting 80s and 81s and 85s, you'll find that all they are doing is getting their own system better, their own horses better within their training system, and trying to deliver that on the day at the show.
That's very good. thank you for that. This has been a very good conversation. So much good stuff.
Well, I hope everyone's getting something from it.
Oh, lots, I'm sure. Thank you so much for coming today and talking to us. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure. I mean, when it comes to horses, I think, you know, we are responsible for all of this, and it'd be stupid of me not to try and plant some seeds or create a little spark in someone. Like all I'd like to do is create a little spark, try and get someone thinking another way. You know, plant a seed for them to think another way. Because at the end of the day, the horses are the beneficiaries of it all. And if I can do that in my life and try and teach people the things I've learnt from making all the mistakes I've made, like I've made more mistakes than anyone. So, you know, if I can coach people on the mistakes I've made, this is how you could potentially not make them.
Yeah.
And if I can help with that and help the horses get a better go at this, then I've done my job.
That's good. Yeah. Well, that is so good. Thank you so much. That's excellent. All very good information. Yes, there's a lot to take in there, that's for sure. Bye, everybody. Until next time, see you. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I hope you really enjoyed it and found lots of wisdom and inspiration to take with you. Until next time, ride the way you want to live.